Alright, we know you love talking about magecraft and your fancy smashy spells that you can't pronounce. We get it. But today, we don't want to hear about none of that. Today we're talking about mystic codes. Now, a mystic code is a weapon powered by magical energy to give a magus a slight edge over their opponent. When it comes to the codes, there's 3 types: Specialized, Amplifier, and Supreme. As of right now, we're jumping straight into the Supreme. Volumen Hydrargyrum, a mystic code belonging to the former Lord Cainov. It is a code consisting purely of the element Mercury, but the real kicker comes in with the magical energy. It is also viewed as a supreme mystic code due to its usefulness being on the level of something you would see from one of the 12 lords of the clock tower. Whether you're looking for a solid offense or a reliable defense, the Hydrargyrum will accommodate your needs. This is easily one of my personal favorites. It's different, it's convenient, and it's well founded. As you can already tell, Cainov didn't earn his name for nothing. This thing is out here absorbing gander bullets, regular bullets, magic swords, fire, ice, lightning, sun. If you don't have a game plan, you might just want to look the other way. It can also locate heat sources, evidenced by the fact that it traced down Kiritsugu even when he tried to make a run for it. That's right, guys. Even when you run away from this code, it's like putting a red beam directly on your forehead. However, it is not flawless, and it does take a decent amount of magical energy to maintain its regular form. The more complicated the forms get, the more energy you'll see being drained. So my advice would be to keep it as simple as possible. But enough of that. Look, sometimes magecraft just doesn't work out. Skip giving yourself a hard time, just use a gun. Hey, it worked for Kiritsugu. Kiritsugu is known for having a specialized mystic code called the Thompson Contender. I got this pistol on me that'll bust a magus head wide open. More specifically, the Contender can function as a pistol or a rifle. Got a situation where you need to get up close, maybe take a picture with your enemy before you do them in? You want to rock out with the 22 cal. Something light, something that gets the job done. Or maybe you're not that intimate of a person. Maybe you want to take your enemies down from long range. You'll want to use the 45-70, which are rounds that are normally used for hunting. Just imagine, the 45-70 is something that you would use to take down a grizzly bear. All of that power for a human that weighs 10% of that bear's mass. You're gonna knock somebody's face off. Yeah, Tsiah, we hear you, but what about the downsides? Alright, the downsides? You only get one shot. So I hope you got good aim, cause if not, it's gonna be a sad story to tell, playboy. But obviously, that's not the reason that Kiritsugu chose this weapon. If he picked the weapon with one shot out of all the guns that he could have chose, there was clearly some intention behind it. The difference between this gun and all of his other weapons is that it's directly tied to his magical energy. The bullets themselves are made out of his own ribs. So when he hits the target, it's like a piece of himself is also going in them as well. It also means that they get hit with his origin, binding and severing, which, as the name suggests, binds and severs anything that it impacts. This was a detrimental process that Cainov had to figure out on his own. While Volumen is indeed strong in several different aspects, the downside is that its main source of detecting the enemy is through vibrations. The only thing it knows is Cainov wants that person, and that person is in that direction. It doesn't matter if your grandma's in that direction, your big-headed nephew is in that direction, everybody is catching these hands. So yeah, knowing this, Kiritsugu used its unguided methods of sensing as a distraction for Kano's demise. But maybe for some reason, you don't like guns. Cool, I got just the thing. You could walk around with a magic wand like this is Sailor Moon. In that case, you would be Tokiomi. Now hear me out. Everybody knows that time is of the essence. You can't get that back. With that being said, ain't nobody got time to be charging up these extra long spells. You about to catch this staff, my guy. Tokiomi uses his jewel staff as an amplifier code that allows him to store tons of magical energy, so when the fight does come around, he hardly has to lift a finger. The Azov sword, for example, is a mystic code with a very similar effect. Rin was able to store 10 years worth of magical energy in this dagger before she handed it off to Shiro. Now, if this staff is in the hands of somebody that actually knows what they're doing, I could see this being a really useful asset. But if you're dumpster juice like some people in this show, you're probably gonna die anyway. I'm not talking about Tokiomi, of course. It could have been anybody wearing a red suit. Switching gears, you also have tools like the Bronze Link Manipulator. This is a specialized code used by Fiora in the Apocrypha timeline. See, the thing is, little Fiora here does not have access to her legs. So instead of waiting for all this time to wish for new ones, she decided, I'll just come up with my own. Once you throw these bad boys on, you'll turn into a Marvel character on the spot. I can't make this up. This girl wants to be Doc Ock from Spider-Man so bad. She will then have 4 mechanical arms that are worn as an exoskeleton and allow her to advance all over the place. I mean, she's crawling all over the building. She's got the arms turning into machine guns. They're deflecting bullets at point blank range. You know what? You're really starting to get on my nerves. What's that? You're still not impressed? Fine. I present to you Prelati's Spellbook. But that's not just any book, son. It's a grimoire wielded by the servant Gilles de Rais that allows him to summon different types of horrors on demand. And I said horrors, not horrors, horrors. And yes, a mystic code can also be a noble phantasm. These different horrors include summoning water demons from a completely different dimension. Still not good enough? How about the ability to summon Cthulhu from H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos? Although using things like Cthulhu renders Gilles immobile, having such immense control of the battlefield can cause problems for anybody. And no matter how you look at it, it still took a lot of time, effort, and collaboration just so everybody could bring this man down. You had Saber, Diarmu, and Iskander out here struggling. It doesn't feel pain, so when it does take a hit, it's like nothing happened. And even when it does take damage, it can regenerate. So you have to get rid of the core, which is Gilles, to do anything worth talking about. You gotta admit, that's pretty diesel. But yeah, these are just a few of the mystic codes. There's several of them, and those will arise once we get more into the profiles. And I do want to mention that the mystic codes in FGO have nothing to do with the originals. Plus, the originals predate them by like 10 years. Let me know your favorite mystic code, and if you had a mystic code, which one would it be? Let me know what you guys think. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Shout out to all the patrons, and I will be back with more Tight Moon content. It is your boy Tsiah. I'm out.